Hi everyone, and welcome to our presentation today on Delta Signal Corporation. My name is Janelle, this is Dylan, this is Ethan, and this is Ivy.
So our strategy towards Delta Signal Corporation was product innovation. Over the 8 periods, we made investments accordingly to try and make Delta Signal Corporation industry leader in product innovation.
So starting off with our agenda today, I'll be speaking about the internal analysis, Ivy will be talking about the external analysis, Ethan will go over our strategy map and our balanced scorecard, and Dylan will be providing our recommendations on how Delta Signal can sustain a competitive advantage for now and the future. In relation to the internal issues, founder and former CEO of Delta Signal, Lewis Webber, rarely had the ability to make suitable decisions for the company, therefore was replaced by Brian Nilsson. In the year 2012, the company hit rock bottom. Rachel Webber mentioned that the stock was on a downslope. Revenues in 2012 were far inferior in comparison to 2 years beforehand. Production and material costs are constantly rising and the company is losing market share to rivals. Delta Signal have no strategic direction. The lack of business and corporate level strategy has led employees, including managers, confused. This has caused a domino effect on the managers as they have no clear goals nor objectives in order to work towards making the company successful. In terms of outbound logistics, products of Delta Signal are offered globally, including the US, Europe, and Asia markets, predominantly targeting the luxury segment. In saying so, Delta Signal have 2,000 distinct products and 100 production lines. This proves how ambiguous and vague the business model strategy is. To some extent, Delta Signal's business model is relatively inadequate. With 2,000 products on offer, the firm is not a market leader at anything. Furthermore, there is no clear message about Delta Signal's value proposition to customers. Poor communication between managers and having the employees work individually rather than a team have also led to disappointing results. In order to overcome these barriers that Delta Signal is facing, we believe that it is imperative for the company to implement a more focused strategy. The action of establishing specific goals and investing appropriate initiatives to the business will ensure that the company will carry out better results, hence lead to a thriving competitive business. As a strategic management team, we have dedicated our strategy to focus on product innovation. Rejwa 2014 mentioned that the strategy of product innovation will provide outstanding benefits as innovation is considered as one of the success features in companies. Having said that, the manufacturing world within today's modern business spectrum keeps evolving, hence the importance of innovation. Ajmati 2012 also states that the global market today has become so diversified that customers have more interest in new things because their needs and tastes are constantly changing. This highlights the importance of firms to adapt the use of innovation as it is a significant method to satisfy their customers. I'll now pass you over to Ivy and she'll be talking about the external analysis.
It is seen that DSE is placed within a highly competitive landscape where changes in development happens consistently, and it is important to understand the company's position in order to cope with threats and competitors. Analyzing and understanding the business tool, threats, and competitive forces of competition, it is important and crucial in order to elucidate accurate evaluations of DSE's current and potential opportunities. With analysis to these external issues within the industry, it is evident that threats of government laws and regulations place a huge impact towards DSE. For instance, if DSE expanded into China on the subject of lower priced cars, there is the threat of Chinese government enacting a law requiring OEMs to share technology in order to sell cars in that country, in which decreases competition and competitive advantages within the market. Moreover, economic threat shows performance such as the current stock market and tax increases enacted by the government can also place a substantial effect on DSE. Technological evidence shows that in 10 years, approximately 800 billion euros will be spent on R&D, with roughly 40% of that money will be invested incorrectly, and these repercussions shows that DSE's money is being wasted on time and effort, rather than investing in resources to maximize and monetize potential ideas. Hence, it is recommended that DSE essentially needs to focus on their products to provide a better value to their customers and increase profit. With further analysis towards the external issues within DSE, it is seen that the company faces with aggressive rivalry forces of competitors and substitute threats, in which can lead to growth of the company to suffer, due to evidence by Porter's 2018, where the increase of threats of substitute forces, it assimilates the chances of putting prices on profitable levels to decrease. Furthermore, continuing on the external gaps with the government legislation threat from China around the shared technology in Asia seen in their forces of rivalry, it will impact not only DSE but the industry spectrum of automotive and the competitors that lie within the market. So competitors of electrical and advanced hybrid cars and vehicles compete strongly within the widespread of the automotive markets by which target buyers to promote the environment and prefer additional accessories in vehicles over the conventional, as evident by Nanaki and Coronius 2013. Forces of buyers are always seeking long-standing value and innovative products and goods, and they have more influence and bargaining power within the industry. Backwards integration is high for consumers within this competitive market. Therefore, with consideration and accounts to these threats and competition, Delta Signal should be cautious as to where they target their manufacturers and focus on product innovation strategy that helps them to preserve protection of their property and premium price products, such as their luxury car segment, as well as the aim for an innovative, cost-effective and sustainable approach within the industry in which will boost efficiency and growth for the company. I'll now pass it on to Ethan to take you guys through the strategy map.
So this is our strategy map. The strategy map is used to determine the strategic direction of an organization. As you can see, our strategy map has focused primarily on research and development in order to become a leader in product innovation. Utilizing this strategy, it is important that our customers view us this way so that they can make links between the customer segment and the internal processes, which focuses on improving innovation and product quality. The strategy map outlines the importance of providing increased earnings through utilizing the strategy of product innovation. Moving on to the balanced scorecard, where I'll analyze and provide reason behind the metrics which were invested in each 4 aspects of the balanced scorecard. Starting with financial. The financial perspective focuses on how Delta Signal Corporation appear to their shareholders. The objective in our scorecard aimed to increase earnings per share, improve gross profit margin, improve return on equity, and maximize earnings per share over time. In order to do this, the board recognized that investment was necessary into becoming a leader in a specific area of Delta Signal. Moving on to customer. A strategy targeting luxury segment OEMs, innovation based the customer objectives as a top priority for feedback, which allows the company to analyze their products in correlation to others within the market. Customer Feedback Data Capture Project was an initiative that was invested in throughout the 8 periods, as customer feedback is a priority for product innovation strategy. Moving on to internal processes. Delta Signal's internal process objectives focus on satisfying shareholder and customers by excelling in processes which immediately impact them. The objectives including design for high quality, highly effective new product developments, improving innovation process skills, licensed third-party innovative technologies, maximizing the use of customer feedbacks, and reducing the plant overhead. So lastly, learning and growth. The learning and growth perspective focuses on the development of internal activities within the company to ensure positive outcomes when implementing new ideas and products. The objectives include aligning the R&D department with strategic initiatives, enhancing reputation as an employer, enhanced infrastructure for collaboration, leading workforce capabilities in R&D, and making customer integration an employee priority. Moving on to the conclusion, which will discuss the key strategic findings from conducting an internal and external analysis of Delta Signal Corporation. Utilizing the business system model, pest analysis, and balanced scorecard analysis has revealed 3 distinct gaps in Delta Signal's internal and external environment, which impacts the firm's performance. The first gap was presented in Delta Signal's internal environment, whereby the organization lacked a clear and concise value proposition to the customers and a lack of understanding of goals for managers. Lacking a clear and concise value proposition caused various investments being made which did not focus on one aspect of the firm's performance, but attempting to benefit all aspects at the same time. Moving on to the second internal gap, which was identified as being the substandard results from particular investments which were made in the last 3 periods of Delta Signal's operations. As referred to in Appendix 3, internal analysis based on final period results, a selective number of metrics which seeked investment that resulted in a stagnant or less than favourable result in the final period, thus creating a weakness in Delta Signal's product innovation strategy. This may seek to threaten Delta Signal's capacity to sustain a competitive advantage as product sources, technology, and valuable information may need to be transferred. I will now pass over to Dylan, who will take us through our recommendation of resource leveraging. He will then relate this to our corporate strategy and how this corporate strategy will impact the company in the next 3 years.
Resource leverage refers to assessing the use of existing resources in order to ensure the tangible resource base is efficient. This implementation within DSE will be sufficient for modifying their strategies to gain a sustained competitive advantage. Hence, resource leverage will be optimum for DSE as efficiency will be improved, resulting in business growth and opportunity to be competitive within the industry. Potential government regulations being combated with resource leverage, DSE will be able to understand the technology efficiency and resource capabilities, which will ensure they are sufficient within the manufacturing process. This will allow for DSE to work around the regulations set to be in place while maintaining a competitive advantage within the industry. Utilizing resource leverage to assess the use of existing resources within insufficient results from previous investments will provide an understanding of previous investments in which were helpful for obtaining a clear and concise value proposition. Overall, the recommendation of resource leverage is essential for DSE in order for the company to sustain a competitive advantage in a challenging environment. For the next 3 years, it is recommended that DSE utilize resource leverage in order to effectively analyze existing resources and ensure internal and external environmental factors don't disturb DSE's competitive advantage in China. Hence, resource leverage for the changing automotive market is fundamental for the strategy of product innovation, and also allows for DSE to become flexible within their position in the market. Corporate strategy within the case of DSE is important as it makes fundamental decisions about the future direction of an organization, its purpose, its resources, and how it interacts with the world in which it operates. Utilizing the demand for multi-business synergy to provide economic benefit for DSE in the next 3 years through diversifying will create additional value through internal growth or acquisition, thus increasing shareholder value. Using synergy by leveraging resources in collaboration with businesses that have similar resource base will improve efficiency, create synergy through relocation of resources, and above all increase market share for DSE. These impacts will benefit DSE over the next 3 years and beyond by enabling them to strategize and relocate their tangible and intangible resources effectively to ensure they are efficient as possible to sustain a competitive advantage in the luxury automotive industry. In conjunction with this presentation, in the report in Appendix 4, simulation results display the investments which were made over the last 8 periods, which have provided Delta Signal and shareholders with exponential growth over these periods. I hope you take into consideration the recommendations that we made and utilize this for the next 3 years or beyond for Delta Signal's operations. That concludes our presentation. Thank you.